What is an indictment? An indictment is a formal written charge issued by a grand jury. It sounds bad, but it doesn't mean you're guilty. And it doesn't mean you've been convicted. Who decides if you get indicted? It's not a judge, not a prosecutor, it's a grand jury. A grand jury is made up of 12 people who have enough free time to spend 2 mornings a week at the courthouse. The way it works is the prosecutor walks in with a stack of files and gives a brief summary of the case, and the grand jury says, "True bill," and they stamp it. For example, the prosecutor says John Doe was driving without a front license plate. Officers initiated a traffic stop. When they approached the vehicle, he was holding a crack pipe. Officers asked him to step out. Crack fell out of his pocket. Then the grand jury says, "Okay, true bill. That's enough evidence for the case to move forward." All they decide is whether there's probable cause to move forward with the case, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, the defense isn't allowed to be there and usually doesn't get to present any evidence. In some cases, the defense puts together a grand jury packet, but we aren't allowed to be in there, so we don't really know if the prosecutor even distributes it. One thing I like to do is, on the second page on the back, I put a little number and I put the packets in order. And so then I ask the prosecutor to give them back to me at the end. Then I check to see if they're in the same order as when I gave them to him. What does an indictment look like? It's typically one page, has the defendant's name, the date, and the elements of the offense alleged to have been committed. For example, on or about January 1st, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, the defendant did then and there intentionally and knowingly cause bodily injury to the complainant, and the defendant used or exhibited a deadly weapon, namely a dog bone. Why does an indictment matter? Well, once you're indicted, that's supposed to give you notice of what you're being charged with. So if the state says you used a dog bone as a deadly weapon, they can't change it without giving us notice. Now, it's not much, but it's one of the few things we get as a defendant. You can waive an indictment. If you get arrested and for some reason you're trying to rush a plea deal, you could waive your right to have the case go to a grand jury. It's not something we do much, but it is an option. The important thing to remember is an indictment does not mean you're guilty. It just means the grand jury said, based on what the prosecutor told us, it's sus. Every felony case that goes to trial was previously indicted. So everyone who's found not guilty at trial was indicted by a grand jury. So if you're being investigated or charged with a crime, call us at Blass Law. We'll save your ass.